what are your thoughts on what Joe said, this cloud idea that comes up in one form in one area of the book, but then I think is thread throughout the book in different ways? You know, how did that come to you, and how does it serve you in trying to, I don't want to say extract, but trying to access creativity?
I think the best way to think about it is like a dream. It's like if you think about your dreams, they don't necessarily make sense. When you wake up, you might remember part, but not the whole thing. Then if you start writing them down, they'll come back, and they may not make sense to you. There'll be a series of abstract images, and maybe someday in the future you'll be able to look back and understand what they mean, and maybe not. And that's sort of how the art making process works. Is like we're making things and we're looking for a feeling in ourselves, and it could be a feeling of excitement or enthusiasm, a feeling of interest, a feeling of curiosity, I want to know more, feeling of leaning forward. And we're following that energy in our body when we feel this, there's something here, I want to know more, I want to know more, I want to know more. And, but I'll say it's not an intellectual process. It's a different thing. That's why it's hard even to talk about it, because it's so elusive, you know?
Recently, I was listening to a podcast by our friend Lex Friedman.
Yeah.
I think it was an episode with Balaji Srinivasan, where with Balaji, who's a investor type guy, thinker type guy. This is like an 8-hour episode. He says something at the beginning that I'd love your thoughts on. He said, look, we can train a rat to lever press every other time, or to expect reward on every even number press, or every odd number press, or even every fifth number press. But a human and a rat can't do that for like prime number presses. You can't actually train that. And then you think about the reward systems and the way that we follow life from when we get up until we go to sleep. And what he said is the fact that we can't do that means that we may not actually be in touch with the best schedules of doing things. Like every time I'm thirsty, I take a sip. I assume that's the right way to do it, but it might not be optimal, right? Optimal for whatever purpose. When I was reading your book, I was thinking about there's a set of things to follow, things to pay attention to. You talk about this, things to access, that none of the creative process comes from just within us. It can, but it's always being fed by things outside of it. And so what I started to do is the second time I read through the book was think about it through the lens of what Balaji was saying, was that there may not even be a language for this thing that we call accessing creativity. I mean, there's a process, but that language in the form of words is a little bit like trying to use even numbers to try and access prime numbers.
Yes.
Like the math becomes so convoluted that we end up in a conversation like this, where I'm confident we can get to the kernels of it, because what's remarkable about the book is that you show and inform the process, but there may not be a English or any other language for saying do this, then this, then this, then this, and you'll have something of creative value.
Yeah.
Does that capture it?
Yes, I think language is insufficient to drill down on creativity. It's more, it's closer to magic than it is science.